Okay, I got you now.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was doing everything right with this.
All right, y'all, welcome to Jamaica. We are here ahead of Hurricane Melissa. And as you can see here, the bay is getting mighty angry as we're starting to get some tropical storm force gusts, and I wouldn't say sustained winds yet, but they're definitely getting up there. You can see the rain's really coming down here. Make sure that this is on there pretty good. It's about to get dark here, so I wanted to show you all this before we start going over models and possible landfall intercept locations and all that good stuff. Yesterday, this bay was smooth as glass, and now it's probably got 2 to 3 foot waves on it. It's been steadily picking up all day long. And you can see out to the right a little bit, that is the open ocean. We're just west of Kingston.
Sir, your shape is...
Make sure that we're still going on here. Alright, looks like we're good. Yeah, the service is already starting to become a little bit spotty. Good thing though, the building does have Wi-Fi until they lose electricity, which the lights have been flickering on and off all day as the higher gusts have been hitting. So I would probably say we'll lose electricity tonight at some point or in the morning. I'd be surprised if we make it to lunchtime tomorrow in this building with electricity, just based on what I've seen today and some of the higher gusts. And it also seems like when some of the heavier rain moves in, the bands move in, that the cell service really cuts out. So we'll have to try the Starlink out and we'll figure it all out. I don't know if this is going to be our final spot for intercepting. It looks like the track has shifted a little bit west today, but it could come back east overnight. Kind of watching for that eyewall replacement cycle, trying to see when that's going to start and if we're going to have another one right before landfall, or if it's going to make landfall at peak intensity, which is very possible. This is a very dangerous hurricane. This is probably the strongest hurricane Jamaica has ever dealt with. Matter of fact, I know it is the strongest hurricane that Jamaica has ever dealt with. So we really don't have anything to compare this to here. Yeah, we are in Portmore, which is just west of Kingston. And they're probably going to get a pretty good storm surge here. A lot of Jamaica's coastline kind of intersects the mountains right at the coast. So storm surge isn't a huge issue, but as you see here, we have a bay, so it's a little bit different. The storm surge is definitely going to funnel up in and through the bay and cause major problems here. Probably up to 10 feet of surge is possible at this location. And it also looks like this window here is leaking pretty good already. I might have to go grab a towel to put down here. So we got a pretty good puddle going on. Yeah, we'll go over some models and the NHC and all that stuff here in a minute. And it's about to get dark. I wanted y'all to be able to see the bay and, you know, the winds coming in and heavy rain bands pushing in before it got dark here. Because I doubt that we're going to have any power flashes tonight. Maybe closer to sunrise in the morning, but I highly doubt it tonight. Maybe just some localized instances of power outages and such. But this is a beautiful island, a beautiful country. And I wish the best for them. This is going to be a bad hurricane, no matter where it was to hit. And unfortunately, it's just Jamaica. Was out on the town yesterday getting supplies, and it looks like a lot of people were taking heed to the hurricane warning once it was issued. Definitely noticed a big shift when we first arrived here. It was just a hurricane watch, and it was business as usual for the locals. But what I noticed, as soon as that hurricane warning was issued and the word got out, everybody fled to the stores and was buying water and all the right supplies that they're going to need. So that is a good thing that people are taking heed to the warning that was issued. I can hear you. Yeah, y'all, it is. I am just here in Jamaica. Paige is actually still at the house in Pennsylvania recovering from her surgery. I wish she could be here with me, but it probably wasn't a great idea at all for her to come, just because she's still recovering. Hate that she has to miss it and is not here, but she is at home working behind the scenes very hard, making sure the live stream is going and that I know what I'm doing. So very thankful for that. I was trying to get the Zello working with her, but having a little bit of an issue there with the sound for some reason. Yeah, I was out on the town a little bit today driving around, and there was hardly anybody out. And if you've ever been to Jamaica, you know that the streets are always busy with people not just driving, people walking, people, selling to the markets on the roadside and all that. No, none of that today. Everything was closed up. Everybody is taking this seriously now here in Kingston, which is great news. And we'll probably have a couple different live streams over the next few days as Melissa approaches the coast, and then of course the landfall. Like I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if I'm going to have to move in the morning or not. I think in the morning is the latest that I can decide on that, so I'm trying to wait on the 18Z hurricane models and also the 0Z before I make that decision. I'm going to wake up super early in the morning and see what the situation is. If it's not safe, we'll just stay here, but might have to head west a little bit, Treasure Beach. I think it was somewhere near Alligator Point or something like that. Was another possibility. Alligator Pond, Treasure Beach. I mean, it could be as far west as Savannah Lamar. I think I'm saying that right, but we just don't know. We have to see if it keeps going west, where it's going to turn north, and all that other stuff that we just don't know yet. I do know that another eye wall replacement cycle is probably likely within the next 24 hours, and that could also cause some track deviations as well. Yeah, here in Jamaica, it is 5:22 p.m. They don't observe, I don't think they observe daylight time, so I think it's standard time all year. So it does get dark pretty early here. Yeah, because we're about at the same parallel as Florida, I think, and Florida's Eastern time. Let me see. Oh yeah, we're way east of Florida. But yeah, it's basically like being in Central Time in the U.S. until next week when time switches back. Then we'll be on the same time as Eastern again. But it just seems like it gets dark super early here. But it does get daylight pretty early in the morning time. This morning it was about 5:30. I started seeing some light coming through or something like that. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about the time change coming up next week. Seems like standard time was just a couple weeks ago, but it was back in March when we switched. So yeah, the plan here is definitely to stream as much as possible until we lose cell service. Because, I mean, yeah, we have Starlink, but Starlink is not going to push through the clouds during a major hurricane. I just already know that. So we're going to stream up until we lose data at landfall, which hopefully we keep data for a good while. I mean, the best outcome would be we don't lose data at all, but that seems like a very, very, very low probability. Losing data is almost a certainty. Losing electricity is a certainty here when we're dealing with winds this strong. Looks like the stream's holding up pretty good. What do y'all think? We don't have all the fancy stuff here. Did not want to bring all that and risk losing it, so we just brought the basics. But it looks like it's doing great, honestly. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in and watching this a little bit. I know it's not too much action right now, but we're starting to get tropical storm force gust here into Kingston. So it is definitely starting to pick up. It is a huge difference from this morning. This bay was smooth this morning. Now we have 2-3 foot waves all the way across it. And it is still just pouring rain. And if y'all notice, we do have a super chat goal that is in effect for the duration of the stream. It is Paige's Surgery Recovery Fund. And as I mentioned earlier, she is at home recovering. Unfortunately, she could not come to Jamaica with me, but she is on the back end of things, making sure the live stream's running well and making sure I'm going in the right direction, need to be going and not getting into any trouble. So, yeah, we do have that super chat goal up there. Thank y'all for donating. Yeah, we do plan to have a stream probably tomorrow again. Definitely early Tuesday for the landfall. The landfall timing is very uncertain. If it landfalls around here, it's going to be really early Tuesday morning. If it continues a little bit further west, it's going to be closer Tuesday mid-morning, Tuesday afternoon potentially. Still a lot of stuff we don't know yet. It's pretty neat. You can see that next heavy rain band really pushing in right through here, where it's right there. You can see the different colors. That's that next heavy band, and that's probably going to be the band that just sets up and causes some flooding issues overnight here around Kingston. It's really starting to push in pretty good now. Was watching for some possible water spouts across the bay and of course across the open ocean out there. Haven't seen any yet, but that is a pretty low cloud right there moving in with this next band. We are on the favorable side of the storm for water spouts right now, so gotta watch out for that. Thank you, Shannas, for the super chat. We greatly appreciate that. Also, thank you, Wendy, for the super chat. We greatly appreciate that. Yes, we hope Paige recovers very quickly. It was a major surgery that she unfortunately had to have. Thank you, Big, for the super chat. We greatly appreciate all your donations. This is going to Paige's recovery fund. Unfortunately, she is going to be out for a couple more weeks, but hopefully by the time I get back, we'll be probably chasing snow. That'll probably be the first time she'll be able to get back out. It's crazy to say that when we're here in a major hurricane, but it is the end of October. We are approaching winter time. Right now we are focused on major Hurricane Melissa that is sitting just off the Jamaican coastline, just south-southwest of Kingston. It is going to continue west overnight and probably through most of the day tomorrow before making that turn off to the north-northeast. It is still unknown where the landfall location will be. Hence, while I'm hanging in Kingston for a little bit longer, just making sure that I don't need to stay here, might have to go west. We will figure that out very early in the morning. And I'm sure you can also hear that next band is here. The rain is absolutely pouring outside. It is really coming down, and the gusts are picking up in this band as well. Hopefully we keep electricity through it. Also, thank y'all for 24,000 subscribers. We greatly appreciate y'all, every single one of you. We appreciate you for watching, subscribing, liking, and sharing. This would not be possible without y'all. Yeah, the wind's really picking up here in this band. I can actually feel the wind blowing through the cracks in this window right here where the rain's coming through. Wow. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting overnight for sure. Is this only going to get stronger here? Definitely thinking if I have to relocate, it's going to be first thing in the morning as soon as it gets daylight, if possible. You can see the lights out in the distance there. That is actually the Kingston area that you can see from across the bay. That is downtown. Kingston is right at the base of the mountains there. So we got to worry about the landslide risk, the flash flood risk. And in downtown Kingston proper, not so much the storm surge risk because of the mountains right there, but there's going to be plenty of other issues that will prevail. In Portmore, west side of Kingston, this bay here, this is I hope I'm getting everybody's names right on here. My YouTube chat has the @ symbol again, so it is usernames on here. Not sure why YouTube likes to switch back and forth, but it does, between showing the actual screen names and then your username. But yeah, y'all, this is a beautiful island, a beautiful tropical island. The people here are just so nice and so kind. I feel for the people here. I hope they have prepared. But like I was saying earlier, when I arrived here, it was just a hurricane watch, and it seemed like business as usual here. Everybody was shopping and eating at the restaurants and out on the town. But as soon as that hurricane warning hit, it was like you flipped a light switch. Everybody was in prepare mode. They were at the store getting their supplies, and you seen people boarding up. The gas stations were boarding up, wrapping the pumps. So it was nice to see that. Everybody was preparing. Thank you, Lisa, for the super chat. Thank you, Bear Mom, for the super chat. We appreciate that. We appreciate all of y'all. We greatly appreciate everybody for watching, subscribing. Be sure to share the stream with your friends, your family, on Facebook, on Twitter, however you want to. We are going to be covering Melissa from the start right now all the way to the end of this event. This window is leaking pretty good now. I keeps saying pretty good, but it's getting worse and worse. I'm gonna have to get a towel to put here. Got a nice puddle starting. It's locked and sealed, but it's just the wind pushing. It's no match. You can kind of see another band right out here, just offshore, starting to push in. And that's going to have a little bit stronger of winds than the one we just went through 5 minutes ago. And then the next band's going to push in. It's going to have a little bit stronger winds than that band right there. And then the next one's going to push in. And you get the picture. They're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger until landfall. And the water is just going to keep pushing and pushing up from this bay as those bands move in. Y'all can kind of see those birds at the top of the screen there. They're kind of just hovering around in those strong gusts. I guess they're looking for somewhere to roost for the night or whatnot, but yeah, they're kind of just hovering there, getting blown around by these strong tropical storm force gusts that we're getting here. We can try Zillow again. Let's see if it works now. I have the volume all the way up on my phone. Let's see if we can hear Paige.
I heard you. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go, y'all. Zillow's working. I can hear you now.
Beautiful.
Looks like we're about to have another band push in here in just a minute.
Last one looked really spooky. It was definitely low.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if we were going to get a water spout there for a minute, but it pushed on inland and hit the mountain. We'll have to watch for the next one if we can see, but it's starting to get pretty dark outside. It's pretty dark. I'm trying to see if we can lighten it up a little bit and take in some light, but it's just not working. It's just dark outside, y'all. You can see a little bit out there still.
Not sure if you saw, but we just hit our goals. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all so much for hitting our super check goal. Thank you, Spider-Man. That is the recovery fund for Paige after she had to undergo extensive surgery, and she is still home for a couple more weeks. As I was saying earlier, by the time that I get back there after this hurricane, it's going to be time for us to chase snow, but she should be back in the truck and we should be ready to go. I know she is ready to be back out chasing. I hate that she had to stay home for this one. I really wish that she was here. I miss her a lot. Okay, looks like Zillow's not working again. I think it's every time I open up the chat, Zillow kicks. Yeah, we're still over 24 hours away of Melissa making landfall, and we're already starting to see these strong tropical storm force gusts here in Kingston. Thinking it's gonna get pretty rough all across the southern shore. The entire island is going to have major issues from Melissa, unfortunately, whether it's from storm surge, hurricane force winds, tropical storm force winds, landslides, catastrophic flash flooding, river flooding. This storm is going to bring it all to Jamaica. You can hear the wind really starting to blow against the house here, and you can hear the rain just beating on the window here. Thank you, Cactus, for sending memberships. Rain is really coming down and that wind is really starting to blow. The waves are really picking up on the bay. tempted to open this window. See if we can see a little bit better out there. Not through the glass, but I'm not sure. It's gonna get this already soaked in here already. It's leaking. It's not a good sign. We're barely at tropical storm force and the glass is already leaking. I will be right back. I'm actually going to check on the other room and see if I need to put a towel in there under the window. Yeah, definitely gotta get these towels put in place here. It is starting to rain inside, folks. It is starting to rain inside. Not good. Well, we'll get it taken care of. See if we have any in this kitchen area. I'm using my raft hose. I might risk it and see if we can open this and see a little bit better for a second. Already pretty much raining in here. No, not really. It's all about the same. It's really windy now. Goodness. Actually, opening this window kind of reduced the leaking. I don't know how. It's still leaking, but it's not as bad. All right, y'all. Let's we'll take a look at models, NHC, and all that other good stuff. Now that it's pretty dark outside, we had a good little view there for a little bit of the bay. I'll also show you the nice little puddle that has formed here in the this winter here. That wind's getting pretty strong. You can definitely see a lot of stuff being blown into off the trees, seeds, leaves. You can see the water running in right there. And it's shut and locked, sealed as good as it's going to get. But we'll take a look at the models and stuff right quick. See if I can get some lights going in here too. Didn't want the reflections to be on that. See if I can get this focused. Let's switch the focus here. Focus mode, let's do auto. There we go. There we are. We are on the NHC website looking at Hurricane Melissa approaching Jamaica. So right now, Hurricane Melissa is a 145 mile per hour hurricane. That is sustained winds moving west at 5 miles per hour. So it's picked up a little bit of speed. It is still very, very slow, but it has picked up a little bit of speed. Moving west towards, then it's going to move towards Jamaica here. We'll get a closer track here in just a little bit. As you can see, the red is hurricane warnings for the entire island of Jamaica, the eastern end of Cuba, hurricane watch for southern Haiti, and the blue is a tropical storm warning. This orange that you see right here is the extent of tropical storm force winds outside of the center. And as you can see, the eastern half of Jamaica has been overtaken by tropical storm force winds right now. And here's the long-term track. Bermuda sits firmly in the middle there. Probably Thursday night, early Friday morning impacts in Bermuda. But before that, Melissa is going to make a devastating landfall on Jamaica. What looks to be mid-morning Tuesday morning, exiting the island Tuesday afternoon, and then approaching southern and eastern Cuba overnight Tuesday, early Wednesday, and then over the Bahamas Wednesday afternoon before accelerating in speed off towards Bermuda. So Melissa is going to impact a lot of areas, not just Jamaica. Jamaica is definitely going to be probably the hardest hit area, but Melissa is going to impact several different countries over the next week. So let's take a look at satellite. This is Melissa right now. Wow, that is an impressive hurricane. Look at that, y'all. And as you can see, it is just still trucking due west at 5 miles per hour. That is just a insane satellite image right there. Wow. I would even argue that this is strengthening right now. We could have if it does not do a eyeball replacement cycle tonight, we probably will have a Cat 5 in the morning. That is, wow. All right, let's go back to current storms. I could watch that loop all day. So we're down to 944 millibars. That is pretty deep and still deepening. We'll look at the aircraft data here in just a minute. Actually, you know what I just thought of? One of our friends, Matthew Capucci, is actually on that aircraft. So this is the spaghetti plots from 18Z. As you can see, firmly in the middle of Jamaica, maybe favoring the western end just a little bit here, but yeah, Jamaica is right in the crosshairs of this, and model agreement is just across the board for that. Also into the eastern tip of Cuba, model agreement, and then you see model agreement kind of starts to diverge a little bit as you get into the Bahamas, but it's still a pretty tight cluster there. And even as you get up towards Bermuda, and then it should safely curve out to sea. Right now there are 0 spaghetti models that are predicting a U.S. landfall from the mid-Atlantic to New England or an Atlantic-Canada landfall. That scenario was on the table yesterday up until this morning, but it seems less likely this afternoon, which is a good thing for the U.S. And it'd be nice to see this storm finally turn out to sea next week. So once again, very, very tightly centered over Jamaica here. You can see that westward motion, and then it starts to get scooped up off to the north and then north-northeast. We can also look at some of the ensembles here, just to look at them. Very good agreement from the GEFS. I will say the GFS, it did not handle Melissa too well in the early stages. It really had the storm going over towards Haiti in the early initial stages, when all the other models pretty much had what is happening now, moving towards Jamaica. So let's look at some aircraft data. We actually have this plane that is in the storm right now. As we can see, let's pull this up here. So they did find a 942, so Melissa is still deepening as of their last fix in the center. It kind of looks like the center might have just barely jogged west-northwest there. But as you can see, the plane is flying through the southeastern quadrant of the storm now. And you see the greens. The greens indicate tropical storm force winds were found, and that is very close to Jamaica here. So we're definitely feeling this tropical storm force gust here in Kingston, but the sustained tropical storm is probably confined right out to the beach and just offshore. So let's start looking over some models here, kind of see when we're going to be talking about a landfall. Let's go over the hurricane models first, the ones that have been accurate this year anyway. So we do have the 18Zs running right now. We'll see how that compares. Wow, even stronger than the 12Z. This is the HAFS-A model. There's an A and a B. I like to call them the brother and the sister, but you can see this was the 12Z at 21Z Monday, still south of Jamaica, but you see a 927. This is 21Z Monday, south of Jamaica, a 920. So coming in a little bit stronger on this model here. That is a solid Category 5 hurricane being modeled. But since the 18Z is not fully ran yet, we will run through the 12Z of the HAFS-A. This is, you can see the timestamp up here, 21Z Monday. And then, of course, Jamaica's right here, just for reference. And obviously the hurricane's right there. This is very late Monday night, very early Tuesday morning, based off of one model, still southwest of Jamaica, as a 913 That is a solid Category 5, a very, very solid Category 5 hurricane. Move closer to Tuesday morning here. Pressure is down to 910 on this model as it approaches Jamaica. And as you can see, this is mid-morning towards the afternoon time Tuesday as Melissa is making landfall. According to the HAFSA, this is very near, just east of Treasure Beach, near Old Harbor, would be a landfall location. As a Category 5, and it continues across the island. Then Cuba, late Tuesday night, early Wednesday landfall as a major hurricane. Probably Cat 3, maybe Cat 4. Across the Bahamas as we go into Wednesday evening, overnight, early Thursday. And then after that we continue off into the Atlantic. That was the HAFSA. We can also look at some rainfall totals. I do believe, no, they don't have rainfall totals, do they? This model does not. All right, we'll look at the B now. HAFSB for Melissa. Also the 18Z is running, but it isn't fully through yet, you can see. So we'll run it out about as far as it can go, then we'll compare. So this is the 18Z, early Tuesday morning, late Monday night. You can see a 914 hurricane just southwest of Jamaica. That is a Category 5 HAFSB. This model has pretty good agreement on the strength. It was the same last run at this time. Location still is a little bit west of what it was earlier. So let's run through the 12Z. Here we are, very early Tuesday, late Monday, southwest of Jamaica. Continues to deepen down to a 910 as it approaches the coastline. This is Tuesday morning, still a Category 5 on this model as it makes landfall around mid-morning Tuesday as a Category 5 on the HAFSB. This is pretty good agreement between the HAFS models. Actually, this is really good agreement between those models. For a Category 5 landfall somewhere near Treasure Beach to Old Harbor, Jamaica. So we'll run it through the day Tuesday. This is around lunchtime Tuesday. It cuts through the mountains. Catastrophic landslides are likely as this happens. Gets back over the ocean here Tuesday night. Approaches Cuba. Actually deepens again on its approach to Cuba here. This is very early Wednesday, late Tuesday. This is making landfall in Cuba. Cuts across Cuba. Heads up through the Bahamas Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening, pulls out of the Bahamas Wednesday night as a hurricane still. So that is very good agreement between those two models for a catastrophic, possibly Category 5 landfall. We'll take a look at another hurricane model, HMON. It's a pretty good model. I want to say it's not as good as the HAFS models, but still, this is a pretty solid hurricane model. The 18Z is also running on it. This is valid Monday morning, southwest of Jamaica. It has a very large eye. I don't know if we're going to see an eye that big, but still Category 5. 10 millibars deeper than its 12Z run. You see that 933, 923 now is what it's thinking tomorrow morning. That is a Category 5 hurricane. This is Monday afternoon, southwest of Jamaica. This is going to be into the overnight Monday, early Tuesday, down to, it's hard to see what that number is there, but a major Category 4, Category 5 near Treasure Beach. That is where the landfall is on this. Pretty good agreement there between the 12Z and the 18Z on timing and location. Around Treasure Beach, sometime early Tuesday. This is the HMON model. Cuts through Jamaica early Tuesday, and it's actually off the island by pretty much sunrise Tuesday, which is a faster solution than what we saw with the HAFS A and B. So also it tries to deepen it back into a major hurricane as it approaches eastern Cuba Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, this is significantly faster than the HAFSB and A. We'll switch back over to the 12Z. They look pretty much similar. Yeah, Tuesday evening is over Cuba, exits Cuba over the Bahamas as you get into Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, and then out into the Atlantic. Still is a hurricane the entire time. Even when it goes over the mountains of Jamaica here, still a hurricane, which I have no doubt about. HWRF, we'll look at that one as well. 18Z still running. This is as far as 18Z goes. Early Monday morning, 930 millibars. A pretty large eye on this one as well. About the same location as its 12Z run, so we could probably run through 12Z. But the strength. This was 12Z, 942. And we saw on 18Z it had a 930. So the trend here with all the models is stronger tomorrow morning. This is an interesting solution. I ran through this one earlier and I kind of thought in my head, this is a very outlier solution. HWRF brings Melissa west of Jamaica. This is early Tuesday, very early Tuesday. This is Tuesday morning around sunrise. A very powerful Category 4, Category 5 hurricane, but as you see, it is offshore a little bit of Jamaica, and it barely has a landfall on the western tip of Jamaica mid-morning Tuesday. This is a outlier western, far western end solution. This is probably as far west as Melissa could possibly go. Still devastating impacts for Jamaica, especially the western end at this point. And as you see the feeder bands here over Kingston and over the mountainous regions, disastrous impacts even if it gets this far west for the entire island. Here we are, Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, approaching Cuba. Major hurricane makes landfall in Cuba on all hurricane models. Comes out of Cuba Wednesday, approaches the Bahamas Wednesday afternoon as a hurricane still. Then out into the Atlantic, towards Bermuda possibly. But yes, this is a far western solution. This is as far west as I could see Melissa getting. I do not think that Melissa is going to miss the island of Jamaica to the west. I do not. I strongly believe there is going to be a landfall of a Category 4, maybe Category 5 hurricane somewhere across the southern shores of the Jamaica island on Tuesday. I'm thinking for landfall, kind of goes with NHC here. Pull this back up. This is the official track. They have landfall just before 2 p.m. Tuesday. We could probably get a better view of that. A little bit closer. And then we will talk timing from the official forecast. Not to let all this load on here. There we go. As you can see, the NHC has the center of Melissa making landfall near Treasure Beach, Jamaica and inland by Tuesday afternoon. This is Tuesday at 2 p.m. As you can see, still a 130 mile per hour hurricane with gusts to 160, almost exiting the island. This is our point before. A Category 5, 160 mile per hour hurricane with wind gusts up to 195 miles per hour approaching Jamaica. This would be 2 a.m. Tuesday, just offshore Jamaica. So right now, NHC has a Tuesday morning landfall near Treasure Beach. I do think that area near Treasure Beach is probably going to be where Melissa does make a landfall, as of right now. Could shift east, could even shift west. But right now it looks like Treasure Beach, that area. If you are on the eastern side of this track here, this is going to be the onshore flow side where water is pushed up against the shoreline, and this is where you get your big surge impacts. Also, the strongest winds are in this area as well on the east side. Now, without a doubt, the west side is going to have very strong winds and major hurricane winds. It is going to be a devastating hurricane for the entire island of Jamaica. There is no doubt about it. So the entire island should be prepared for a Category 4, possibly Category 5 hurricane, with impacts starting, as y'all saw, right now. We'll go back to the satellite loop here for a minute. You can pull up a visible from earlier. It's dark now, but should still be on here and able to see it from earlier. Look at that. Wow. Just a textbook major hurricane. And you see these thunderstorms right here? These bands are what's going to cause some of the most extensive flooding, even well away from the center. This is definitely still a strengthening hurricane as we go into the nighttime hours. Wow. That is just a crazy satellite image right there, with Jamaica unfortunately right in the crosshairs of Melissa. Just terrible situation. Hurricane warnings, of course, Jamaica, eastern Cuba. We'll read through the key messages here from NHC. Jamaica, seek shelter now. Damaging winds and heavy rainfall tonight and Monday will cause catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding. Numerous landslides before potentially devastating winds arrive Monday night and Tuesday morning. So these landslides in Jamaica are going to start tonight. Possibly, they could be ongoing right now. Extensive infrastructural damage, long duration, power and communication outages. Isolation of communities are expected, not possible. It is expected. Life-threatening storm surge and damaging waves are expected across portions of the southern coast Monday night and Tuesday morning. Some key messages for Haiti and the Dominican. Catastrophic, life-threatening flash flooding and landslides are expected across southwestern Haiti and the southern portions of the Dominican through midweek. In Haiti, extensive infrastructural damage and isolation of communities is likely. Although winds have temporarily decreased, they are likely to increase again across much of western Haiti on Tuesday, as Melissa makes that turn off to the northeast. Eastern Cuba. Life-threatening storm surge is expected along portions of the southern coast of eastern Cuba late Tuesday and Tuesday night. damaging winds, and heavy rainfall with life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flash flooding. Landslides. All of this starts tomorrow, Monday. Preparation should be rushed to completion. The Bahamas, Turks and Caicos should be monitoring Melissa closely. There is an increasing risk of a significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall Tuesday and Wednesday, with watches being likely starting tomorrow across the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. As we mentioned, rainfall. Folks, look at this map. This is just a terrible, terrible situation for Jamaica here. You can see the legend here. Greater than 30 inches, possibly up to 40 inches of rain across eastern Jamaica. Life-threatening flooding extends up into eastern Cuba and portions of southwestern Haiti. But this over Jamaica is just going to be devastating impacts here on this beautiful island. Seeing this number, 40 inches of rain. That is not good. I mean, just look at this. This is using the Radar Omega app. You can download it and track Melissa as well. It's on the Play Store, it's on the App Store, it's on desktop. But look at this. This is just... that is an insane satellite image there. I'll take this layer off that way. We can see it a little bit better. You see Jamaica, you see Melissa. Wow. That is just insane to see. That is a strengthening Category 4 hurricane. Once again, here's the track, just in case you missed it. We'll zoom in on the islands. So my plan, going back, we'll pull up this interactive NHC map, and I will share my thoughts on my plan. Need to be in that northeast quadrant of the storm, the northeast eyewall, making landfall at a northeasterly angle like this. That would mean somewhere right in here, right now. Treasure Beach, that would put you firmly in that northeastern eyewall, and then eventually the eye. If it shifts east, have to look for areas down here. But this, you see all these rivers. Let's see if we can take this wind off here. See all these rivers? This is going to be impossible to get to. It's going to be washed out, landslides, flooded. So covering it down here is not an option. Right now we're over here near Kingston. If it was to shift east all the way over to here, we could just stay right here and get that northeast quadrant. But it looks like we may have to reposition. And we're definitely going to figure that out at first light in the morning. Because it is raining right now, the winds are picking up. But this is about as much as, or as bad as it's going to get here tonight, wind-wise. Just because the hurricane's moving west right now, it's not really approaching Jamaica. It is moving this way for now. So we'll just have continued impacts like we're seeing. This is this is Melissa now. Wow. Right before the sunset. We definitely have to be careful on this one. Do have supplies, a plan, everything that we should need. Do plan on being in Jamaica for, I don't know how long after. It really just depends. Because that is the entire island being affected by a major hurricane force winds at least, and significant catastrophic flash flooding. And as you can see here, this is a mean looking hurricane. A very, very well-defined eye. So those strongest winds are going to be right in here in this northeastern quadrant of the storm, which is forecast to go. Let's turn the track back on. You can see, using the Radar Omega app here makes it super easy to be able to track this. It's going to continue west and then kind of turn off to the northwest and eventually north and northeast. But this right here, that northeast section, is the strongest part of Melissa. And when it makes landfall here, that is going to be all the way from Treasure Beach, right there at landfall, Alligator Pond, Manville, probably up into the Maypen area, central Jamaica. But I think over here is a little bit too far east to be in the direct eye wall as it stands right now. The northeast eye wall, that is. The entire system is powerful, but the northeast eye wall is the most powerful part of a hurricane. Pull the track back up here for you. We can probably take another look outside. I might have to turn these lights off. Let's see out the window. We'll take a look back outside, see if we can see anything. Sorry, it got dark. It is dark out here. Yeah, it's real hard to see. You can see across the bay. We'll open this a little bit. You can hear it as well. The wind's starting to blow. You can still see electricity throughout most of the island here. The wind is definitely starting to howl a little bit. It's got a little bit of noise to it. It's a pretty strong gust starting. Definitely seems like the rain kind of slacked off just a little bit here. Looks like this window's still leaking pretty good, even when I had it shut. You hear the rain starting back up pretty good now. The wind is picking up as well with this next band coming in. I can hardly see the bay out there, but it looks like the waves are getting significantly bigger. I'll be curious to see what it looks like in the morning. I just have my phone plugged in across the room here, just in case we lose electricity sooner than later. I want to make sure it's fully charged. should be getting the 8 p.m. Eastern update from the NHC pretty soon. We'll go over that when that comes out. Still waiting to see when the 8 p.m. update's going to come out. I do know they're finding the storm a little bit stronger with the plane in there. Curious to see what they bump the intensity up to. I think our pressure might be down into the lower 930s. So the 8 p.m. NHC just did come out. So the pressure is down to 933, winds 145, still moving west at 5 miles per hour. We don't get a new track update at the 8 p.m. We'll get a new track at 11, but the pressure is down to 933 and winds to 145. We could easily see a Cat 5 hurricane by the time we wake up in the morning. Life-threatening and catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are expected in portions of Jamaica and southern Hispaniola through midweek. We'll see what the 11 p.m. track looks like. One last view, kind of outside here a little bit, but it's dark, you can't see too much, you can't see anything. You can hear the waves are getting much bigger. But I think we're going to end the stream for tonight.